Welcome back to the second episode of Deep House with Larry White at the historic home of Sam and Alfreda Maloof in Altaloma, California. I was Sam's first apprentice and I worked with him for 29 years. Lauren Verdugo, my apprentice, is here with me again, and we're going to look at a chair design that Sam continued to make throughout his amazing career. He called it the hornback chair. It's a great example of Sam's sense of refinement. I'm really glad that we have these two chairs in our collection because they're a wonderful example of how Sam's sense of design, his aesthetic, developed over the years. Sam told me once that these people that design a new piece every time soon run out of ideas and then they start making crap. And so his idea about a design is find a design that you really like, that works, it's comfortable, and then keep modifying it, keep changing it and improving it over a long period of time. So these pieces here are a great example of that. These are basically the same chair called the hornback chair, but the spread between them in age is really going to amaze you. When do you think this one might have been made?
I would say late 50s.
Yeah, my guess is around 57 or so in there, and I'm judging that on certain elements. The thinness of the arm and the distance from the seat of the arm tell me that this is an early piece, and the kind of shaping that went on here and the thinness here where the leg joins the top. This tells me it had to be in the later 50s, but I don't know exactly when. There's no date on it. I'm sure in the archives they must have one. This particular finger joint Sam developed early on in his career and continued to use it well into the 70s. It was a very successful way to create a form, a seat plane. This one here is 1975. So in all those years, from 57 to 75, you see the change that has occurred in this same design. The arms got lower and flatter, and it has a more bold presence to it. This just has a different kind of posture to it than that. You can see here the beginnings of a more sculptural approach. Sam's early pieces had just a straight leg where the arms and the seats butted right into a flat surface. And here we see the beginnings of the more sculptural approach where the leg literally is rounding into the arm and rounding into the seat. And so this was a real transitional period for Sam during the middle 70s. They kept becoming more and more sculptural. You'll see the beginnings of the lines where the hard lines are coming down and starting to go down the leg, but they kind of feather out. And anyway, it's a great example of that transitioning design.
I noticed that Sam doesn't really have stretchers involved in his chairs. Did he have any thing
That's
against
what
them?
these are. Sam didn't like stretchers underneath the bottom of his chairs. He wanted that an open aesthetic. And so he developed these low arms that serve as the stretcher to give the chair strength from the back to the seat. And it also gives you a great handle to pull the chair underneath you when you go to slide in under the table. And it gives you a little area where you can push on to get up when you go to get out of the chair. So it's a brilliant design, I think. I've always been amazed by it. Here we're still using turn spindles. You can see here that this continued. It won't be much longer in the 70s till Sam starts using bandsaw cut and shape spindles, and we'll look at some of those later in our future video. But anyway, great examples in the collection. We're really fortunate to have them to point out that slow development of design was typical of his aesthetic.